Could the San Antonio Spurs leave San Antonio? What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. I had to drop a video on this. There's tons of news sites coming out with this. Fans are upset. They're going crazy with the news that broke last night that the Spurs are looking to have some games played outside of the A&T Center. While I'm going over the Spurs fans, drop a comment down below your thoughts on this news. Do you think there's a chance the Spurs could move? So they're just kind of testing the water to see how they do outside of San Antonio. Hit that thumbs up, like to support the channel, and subscribe for more Spurs content. Let's get into the article, and I'm just going to drop some key points in here. First, Bexar County Judge Nelson Wolf had this to say, quote, "The theory is that if they can get out and broaden their network, get sponsors, get people to buy seats, get fans to come here, that would bring them up," unquote. So what that basically means is, hey, I feel like we get maybe a little more revenue pulling the Spurs out of San Antonio and maybe dropping them over here or over there for a couple games and maybe get new sponsorships, etc. Try to bring some more money in. And I got to ask you, Spurs fans, since I live in Connecticut, I can only see what I see on TV and what the cameras show me. The arenas, this season specifically, have they been relatively full, relatively empty? What I'm watching on TV, is it just the the expensive seats that are empty, or are we seeing empty seats everywhere? Bleacher seats out here, nosebleed. Are we struggling to have attendance for our San Antonio Spurs? Because that would be a reason a team would obviously contemplate moving if they can't pull revenue in. As much as all the San Antonio Spurs, this is still a business and they need to sell tickets. Okay, up next, quote from our CEO, R.C. Buford. Here's what he's got to say. Quote, "We are committed to finding new, creative ways to purposely engage and celebrate our fans from Mexico to Austin, continuing to expand our regional fan base. We believe San Antonio is uniquely positioned from a cultural, geographic, and economic standpoint to serve as the anchor for this region. San Antonio has been home for 5 decades, and the organization, interesting, 5 decades, 5 championships. Anyway, 5 decades, and the organization will continue to innovate, positioning the Spurs to thrive in San Antonio for the next 50 years. 50 is a great number. David Robinson, just throwing that out there. On top of Buford's statement, Judge Wolf reiterated just how unlikely a move away from San Antonio will be anytime soon. Quote, "The team just can't get up and leave. There are substantial penalties to begin with. Second, the NBA has to agree with it. And third, there have been very few NBA teams moved around." He also added, and this is very important, there's also a non-relocation agreement that goes through 2031 to 2032. So Spurs fans, that is a decade away. 32 NBA season, that would result in penalties between 84 and 134 million, depending on when it would happen. So if the Spurs decided to move tomorrow, they're going to get fined $134 million. I don't know about you. I don't have $134 million laying around. Maybe they do, but that's a substantial penalty. If the Spurs were ever going to move, they would need a team to make a move within the next few years. That is, a team to make such a ridiculous, super turbo letterbox championship edition foil etched double box topper type of deal that they just can't say no, and that deal also takes care of any type of penalties. And that is the one thing I could see happening, is if a team or ownership or a city or whatever said, "Hey, we're going to offer you so much money to move the team, we'll pay your penalty, we want you here," and then the team would obviously move. That being said, I don't see them moving anytime soon. Hopefully not ever. San Antonio Spurs, I mean, I get trying to get, I had to say the team name, San Antonio Spurs, because nothing else in front of the word Spurs sounds right to me. Not even Tottenham. Of course, to the hot Spurs. That's forget all that. Moving right along. I can't see him moving. I just, maybe that's the homeboy fan in me. Being a Spurs fan for over 30 years, I just can't imagine any other city in front of the word Spurs. And if they did move Spurs fans, I thought about this going to this video. Would I say a San Antonio Spurs fan, even if it's a decade from now, when TSR is north of David Robinson's number 50, when I'm walking around still trying to dunk and busting up my ankles, would I still be a San Antonio Spurs fan if they left? And I don't know if they were the Austin Spurs or the Mexico Spurs. If they moved to Mexico, I don't know. I don't know if I'd probably still root for the team. Would I watch the games? Probably not. Would I buy any more merch? Definitely not. But hopefully I never have to address that Spurs. But I just want to show you a couple of things here on the Twitters that people were reacting to the news last night. Won't be for another decade at least, as they're under contract with A&T Center until 2032. But beyond that, I wouldn't be surprised if they relocated to Austin, especially if we still suck by then. Right. Hopefully not. Will be a sad day for the city of San Antonio, but it seems like the writing's on the wall. How about that? Gone, Spurs gone. I guess that's the new GSG. Well, the last one here, and it begins. Been saying this for a while. Only a matter of time before Spurs switch cities. The games are always empty. Look, the teams in the first, I think people are panicking maybe a little bit hearing this news, and I get it. If you buy season tickets to see the Spurs 41 times in San Antonio, and now you get news that, hey, 38 of those games will be 10 minutes down the road from you. The other three games, you're going to have to drive 2 or 3 hours. I would be upset. Season ticket prices, will they be lowered if they're playing outside of San Antonio since you're technically getting less games in San Antonio? I think they should be. It should be you're buying season tickets. You have two options. You buy season tickets for all 41 games and wherever the hell we play, whether it's on the moon or in Uranus, on Uranus. Mess that up. This is the price of the tickets. Or option B, the Spurs have 37 games in San Antonio this year. 4 games are going to be spread out between Mexico and blah, 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 all over Texas. All right, I just want to see the Spurs in San Antonio. I buy the season ticket package for 37 games. I have a feeling it's going to be the former, not the latter, and you just can buy them all. You're not going to get to pick and choose like that. But I think, and let me know if they in the past Spurs fans that have bought season tickets, do you have the option of all the games in San Antonio, or do you just buy all the home games no matter where the hell they are? I think it would be fair that you have an option, but I never bought season tickets for the San Antonio Spurs living in Connecticut. That's all I got. I want to do a quick video on this. Because this is something that I could see fans getting emotional about. I know if I heard the news the Spurs were officially moving, I would be devastated. I would. It would suck. I probably would cry. I'm not gonna lie. That's probably one of the few things probably one of the only sports, that would be the only thing ever in sports that made me cry. I didn't cry when the Spurs lost in the finals almost a decade ago. If you did, that's fine. I get it. But if they moved the team, I know I would be heartbroken. And I can see just where Spurs fans are panicking now. The team's rebuilding. The team is playing a few games away from home. That being said, things could totally change if one of our young guys becomes a superstar or if we end up drafting a superstar. This is uncharted territory for Spurs fans. We had been the most dominant team in all sports for 2 decades. And now the fan base has gotten smaller with them struggling the last few years. But if they start winning some games, DeJounte Murray is an all-star. Maybe many, many more all-star appearances before him. We get a second all-star on the team. I think things are going to turn around, and we just have to be patient a little bit. I'm not going to do the whole trust the system, trust the process, because we've missed on draft picks. Lucas Samanic, who did end up being a freaking sandwich. But overall, we've done a great job drafting, developing players, and I have faith the Spurs are going to do a phenomenal job this offseason. I really like what the front office did during the season, making trades, getting more draft picks, and I think they made a lot of good moves, and I think they're finally righting the wrongs of the ship where we were trying to win with some older vets like Patty Mills, Rudy Gay, LaMarcus Aldridge, DeMar DeRozan, and realize, you know what? Well, these are good players and could do things. It's not enough to be a championship contender, which is why that, kind of went away, if you will, in the offseason before the season started. I think they're going to do things right. And I don't see the San Antonio Spurs moving. And if I'm wrong about that, that's all I got. I'll keep doing Spurs content. Hey, I'll be live in 2 weeks. Just if you're still here, real quick. 2 weeks, we find out when the Spurs will be drafting in the NBA lottery. May 17th, the results will be revealed. I'll be live for that. Sure, I won't be live very long, maybe only for a half an hour, but I'm looking forward because that is going to be the biggest night of the year for us as Spurs fans to date. I mean, the play was important, etc. The chance to get the number 1 overall pick or number 2 or number 3, or can we get number 4? There's only 1 through 3. I always forget with that. But if we can pull a Tim Duncan ping pong ball, whatever they're doing, if we can get a top pick. I know a lot of you talking about Paulo Banchero wanting to come. Apparently, he wants to come here, wants to play with DeJounte Murray. A lot of you talked about Jabari Smith Jr. It seems like you guys don't really want Chet Holmgren, but I would probably stay away from Chet because of his size. If I'm drafting first overall, I'm probably going Paulo or Jabari because power forward is the spot we need the most. We haven't had a really solid power forward since pretty much since Tim Duncan left. I know Aldridge, but he's been more power forward center, just like true power forward. Oh, geez, I just kind of contradicted myself. Tim Duncan was actually kind of a power forward center. Whatever. We need a power forward. Bottom line, we need a power forward. I see one of those guys getting drafted if we're a top 2 pick or top 3 pick. We need a top 3 pick, not top 2, top 3, because, well, if we get top 3 and they go 1 and 2, then shoot. We need a top 2 pick to guarantee we get one of those players. And if we do, you watch, Spurs fans. Not only will the wins go up, but fans will start coming back. They will. And it'll be good times. So can't wait to be live with you guys May 17th. I'll do some Spurs videos in between then if any news breaks. But I want to talk about this. I don't see them moving. If you're panicked about it, listen, you don't panic or be upset about something you don't have any control over. We have no control over this except for supporting the team. And if this eventually does happen 10 years down the road or 15 or 20, it'll be a terrible day for all of us Spurs fans, but I just don't see it happening. I think they're going to stay in San Antonio. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. And as always, go Spurs, go!